Hey everyone, Doug here with Doug Johnson Productions, Orem, Utah. And I've got a product review for you here today. So this is a review on the Cinegears wireless follow focus system. It's a little bit different than some of the other stuff we do here on this channel. This product is really aimed primarily at a film market, but we do use it in video as well. So first of all, we'll talk about what a follow focus is. So you've got a lot of these lenses that are used in video and film production that are manual focus. You don't typically find autofocus in that particular arena. And very often the camera operator is not the one that's doing focusing, and so they have a device called a follow focus. So it's basically a big wheel that goes on the side of the camera that you adjust the focus on the lens. And Cinegears has a product here that's a wireless follow focus. There are other manufacturers that make these, but the Cinegears reached out and offered to have us review. So I've got this here. And to help out, I've got my friend Paul here, Paul Green. Paul has been in the film industry for basically 20 years. And how long have you been doing focusing?
Probably about 12 years.
So
Since about 2007.
And you've been first assistant camera on quite a number of productions. Way too many to count.
That's primarily what I do.
Yeah, that's Paul's primary job, actually. So I mean, he helps us
hold the focus.
He helps us
take measurements all day long.
That's right. He helps us with our live stuff, but he actually does focusing.
Yeah,
he runs follow focus
along with operating camera.
Cameras, so yeah.
So I really enjoy.
So it made a lot of sense to bring him in because he's been doing this for a long time, and this is right up his alley. And so he's had this in his possession for a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cinegears sent it to us.
Just used it on a movie. So here in Utah, a lot of the productions don't last too long for movies. So I did about a 14-day movie with that so far, and a couple commercials. So it's been a good unit. It's been a reliable unit, which is huge, because a lot of these, all of a sudden, wireless goes down on things.
Yeah, wireless is not always reliable.
Yeah, and I'm not one for wireless. I'm not typically doing wireless follow focus, honestly. I do actually prefer the mechanical follow focus. So that's kind of where my industry teaching was mechanical, starting with film, very, into the latter part of film for it. So it was always kind of, the wireless wasn't.
Yeah, but since you've been
the technology at the time.
But since you've been in the industry for a long time, you've actually used a lot of different wireless follow focus systems.
And I have used the range, maybe close to, I don't know, all the leading brands. I've used the top, used the cheapest kind, you can get, and even at those levels, there's always some kind of problems, but there's some that are reliable, more reliable than others, and but more often than not, I find issues with just the connection. Like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I'm unplugging and like plugging back in, and it's taking time, and time is money.
And that's something we tested pretty extensively with this, actually. So we just finished a range test a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
So Paul took the transmitter and headed outside the trailer.
I just started walking, and I was turning the dial.
Nearly a block away, and it
was just
it worked fine. No dropouts, no glitches, anything. So
it's been very reliable. That's the main thing that I've liked about it. I don't use a lot of features that it has, but the reliability, I know I can just plug it in and calibrate, and it'll just start going. So that's one thing I have liked about this particular unit.
Yeah, so basically the way it works, adjust the knob here, and it actually physically adjusts the lens on the camera. So you can see as I turn actually physically moving the focus on the lens, and it's a one-to-one relationship. So however I move the wheel on the transmitter, that's how the lens moves, and it's repeatable. So you can actually do markings on the wheel and repeat your moves over and over again. So if you need to hit a specific focus target, you can very easily do that. And so while you were testing, Paul, did you have any issues with it hitting target as you're
explain that a little, what you mean about that?
Okay, so as you're using the follow focus system and you have your markings on your wheel, was the lens able to hit the desired focus point?
Oh yeah. Once I was able to have the actor stand on their mark, find focus first of all, measurement wise, and then getting the fine tuning by visually seeing, and getting it by just kind of dialing it in, and then marking it. And once I went back, it was right on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Never had a problem with that.
So repeatable, which is important with a follow focus. You want to be able to repeat your moves
Yeah.
because you shoot multiple takes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Now, as far as the repeatable,
Oh,
I wonder if we should talk about
presets.
that. Yeah, the presets. I've never used the presets. This has a function to land on marks using presets, which is,
There are 4 of them.
it's an interesting idea. For me, I'm not too keen on needing that. Like, so I haven't, because everything I do, I need to be just always moving, because in film and television, it's not like a product shot where I can just mark. I can have this ABCD mark and push the mark and have it go to a certain focal field and
But I
just
actually,
count
I
on
actually,
it to
I actually
stop.
have used the preset feature though. Like when I shot the teaser trailer video that I did, I was using presets.
When you're a one-man band,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I totally get that.
So I was using
can
the
understand
presets
that.
for all those shots. Like as you watch those shots, you can see it focus go from one point to another. And I was using the presets, and it seemed pretty reliable there. So I didn't have any issues with it.
Some of the testing that we did on a longer lens, where the focal field is just so small, we tried going in between those before, and it didn't quite seem to hit exactly every time. We'd go between A and B.
On the presets, yeah.
Yeah, but that's again.
Some of that, there's all sorts of reasons that could be a lens issue. It could
It's
be,
true.
Could
It's
be
true.
just not locked down as tight.
It was
as it
very
needed to be.
close,
So
but I think also our focal field was so shallow that it's just, not. I don't know what could hit that exactly. So I think if you have a very shallow focal field with the preset, it's going to be a little tougher on
But that said, though, how often do professionals use presets on these things? Not a lot.
I have never used it.
Yeah, so there you go.
That's then again, I don't do a lot of product things. I don't know if that would be handy in a product situation. It might.
Yeah, it's possible.
For product.
So when you're moving between the presets, by the way, those are the preset buttons there. There's this blue knob up here that you can use that to adjust the speed of transition.
Do a closer.
Transition between.
Like for that one.
Transition between a couple different shots. So hit the A preset button there, Paul.
Yeah. So there is A.
Okay, so you see the lens go, and then if we adjust the blue knob there to turn up the speed, and then press B, and it'll go to preset B, and it'll go there pretty fast. So use the knob there to
It's
control.
kind of hard to do that upside down.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so then you go slower, and it would go slower.
Yep. Yeah, go really slow in some cases. Now the one thing I noticed about that though is you can't adjust the speed right in the middle of a shot, a transition. You have to set the speed you want before you actually hit the button. So
speed slow,
Yeah.
going to A.
incredibly slow.
You can't crank it up in the middle.
Crank it up in order to make it go faster while it's in the
So-
transition.
Or you can just turn that off and do it manual.
Yeah, which is what most people do. So.
Just mark it.
Yeah.
I'm a little weird. I typically use my left hand, and I'm facing the dial kind of like this.
Which is backwards from how most people do it.
Yeah. Typically, people are on this side of the dial. I do it both ways, but I'm typically just very comfortable just grabbing it like this and not having to necessarily pay attention to every little detail, especially if the actor's off of their mark and they're just, maybe they miss their mark, or if they're just exploring the room and not going to their marks, then I'm just kind of, watching to what they're doing, and I can kind of remember that way. Anyway, that's an operator thing. But there's also, that brings me to this little feature, which is kind of nice. There's a light. If you're in a dark situation or a studio, there's a little light right there, which is kind of handy.
A little hard to see under the bright lighting where we're here, but
I don't know if that would be blocked. Nope, you can't do that.
yeah, it's pretty soft.
But there is a light there. You can see it going on.
Yeah, and so that helps you to find
Off,
you to find your mark in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you had your dial marked like this, you might be able to see those better in the dark.
And in terms of other features, there is a start-stop button on the transmitter there, and then that corresponds to a couple of outputs that are on the motor that you can plug into your camera in order to remotely start and stop your camera.
It's the LAN C.
Yeah, the LAN C, and then there's one other type there. So most cameras are adaptable in one way or another.
Just need an adapter for some of those cinema cameras because I really wanted to use that feature, especially when you're putting this on something like a handheld stabilizer
or a jib.
Or a jib.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out there.
Yeah,
it's
it's
far
way out
away,
there,
and you
yeah.
want to hit record.
And you don't want to run over there and hit the record button.
Yeah. So for a lot of cameras, you'll be able to do that, but
Yep.
you might need an adapter for cinema cameras, especially like a Red or a
Yep.
Arri or something. I don't know
Yep.
if they have a LAN C.
Yep. So in terms of setup, the motor attaches to rails. So you have to have a camera system that has rails. It's a little hard to see there, but there's a rail there. A 15mm rail. This also comes with a connector for 19mm rails as well.
Yep.
So you can do either one.
That attaches to the motor.
Yep.
And if you lose your other 15 and you just have your 19, there is an option here for like a little 15mm adapter. So
Yep.
that's kind of handy.
Yep. So once you've got that set up, you've paired the transmitter and receiver, you come over and you press the set and A buttons, hold those down, and then it will actually calibrate. You can see it moving there. So it's finding the closest and the farthest focus points, and then those correspond to the far left and far right position on the wheel.
Yeah.
So you can
A must.
use the entire range.
I mean, that's...
However, if you're using a lens that doesn't have hard stops, or you only want to use a limited portion of the focus range.
I didn't know about this until very recently,
Yeah.
which would have been very nice because I'm not typically using a lens. I'm usually using cinema lenses with hard stops and the teeth. But if you happen to find yourself using a lens that is
Doesn't like a photography lens.
a photo lens,
Yeah.
it doesn't have hard stops, meaning the focus will just
The wheel
you
keep
can
turning
spin it.
after you
Yeah.
reach the end.
It'll just
of
go
the lens,
infinitely.
yeah. So this lens this system has a way to handle that. So you can go into a calibration mode, move the wheel, or actually use the buttons to go to one extreme, so the telephoto extreme, and then you can move and then set a stop there, and then you can go to the other extreme, set another stop there, and then the entire range of this wheel only goes between those 2 points.
Yeah.
So
And you brought up a good point too. If you didn't want to go to the far extremes, you wanted to go to just a certain range.
yeah, so you got
could do that
two
too.
subjects that you're doing a rack focus between two different subjects. One's at 6 feet, one's at 12, and you just needed to go back and forth between those. You could set your two extremes at 6 and 12.
Yeah. Yeah, you would just go all the way. It's a little
But it also gives you finer control throughout that range too. So
true. It would be kind of some setup, but
yeah,
it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible to do that.
and yeah.
So
later.
photo lens, it's possible. You can use this with a photo lens and not worry about skipping over, because that was my worry is turning the dial too much and just having it go past infinite, and then you try to go back and it's not on. You have to go up and see what it is and remark your lens. So that was really good info to know.
Yep. So and the other thing that's probably worth mentioning is that you can reverse the direction on here. So if you're used to having like near
And
be
it's right here.
all the way to the right and far be all the way to the left, or vice versa, you can actually switch.
And
that
that's my weirdo left hand thinking, where this is closer and this is farther. So the direction button is right there.
Yeah, so you can reverse.
It's kind of
that
nice.
very
I
easily,
have to
so,
use it
yeah.
often if somebody else is using it,
yeah.
or it just gets pushed. Or something.
So overall build quality on this thing, excellent. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It feels like a brick.
No, it's got weight to it. It's all
very,
alloy
very tough.
metal.
Yep.
It's probably some kind of aluminum, but it's strong.
Yep. So you're not going to damage that easily.
Yeah, it's got some rubber parts here
Rubber feet,
for setting it
set it
down. Whoops, I just hit a button.
Yeah, very, very solid build quality. So no issues there.
It's a built-in battery.
Yep.
So-
Charged over USB, and the battery lasts for a really long time.
It does. It lasts for a very long time. I during the whole shoot on this movie, 14 days, I did not have to charge it. I did notice at like close to the last day, it started blinking. It started going red, I think. I think that was and I thought, oh no, this is going to die in the middle of a shot. But luckily, this 5-volt DC here,
Just
USB,
Yeah.
USB, I just plugged it into like you get a phone, like
Phone charger.
yeah, phone charger,
Yep.
and I had it plugged into the little setup I had, a little monitor setup, and it charges, and you can use it at the same time. So
Yep.
that was nice. I was like, oh no, it's going to shut it off,
Yep.
or I have to turn it off to charge.
Yep.
You can actually have
Yep.
it on while it's charging, which is super cool.
In terms of powering the motor, that actually comes off of a D-tap cable, so it's actually plugged directly into the camera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
there's no battery in the motor. It just gets its power from the camera. So yeah, there's that.
One thing about the P-tap, a lot of your V-Lock or your gold mount batteries will have a P-tap on it. If you didn't want to shut off for calibration, if the camera needed to go off, you can actually have it plugged
right
in
into the battery.
to the battery.
Yep.
And on my jib, on one circumstance when we were out there, I didn't want to have. Well, I had to kind of rig this whole setup, and I had the follow focus, and I just hooked a battery onto my jib, and just had it on all the time because I didn't want to have to recalibrate because we were using the same lens for a while, and I knew we were going to have to unplug and move around or something like that. So it was handy.
Yep.
It's kind of handy, and if you have a lot of accessories, you can always plug into a battery.
Yep.
And it works.
Yep. So the other thing.
I was going to talk about this too.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah, the other thing we want to mention is they also have other transmitters. So this is a little mini transmitter. It works exactly the same. It only has 2 presets instead of 4, but you've got a smaller wheel here, and that works exactly the same as this bigger wheel. So, for
It's
example,
like a nice little finger wheel.
yeah.
You
So
put on your jib, or
you can stick it on your jib handle, so you'll be able to control follow focus while you're controlling your jib. Or
if you have a handheld like a Ronin or a Movi,
yep.
you can have a finger wheel if you want to do your own focus.
Yep.
Or
And
you
if-
don't have anyone to
and
do
if-
it.
Normally, they don't include both of these in one kit. They just happen to send both of them for us. But if you wanted to get the little one, but you still have the big wheel, they do have a plastic wheel that you can stick on there.
Oh,
and
right.
they'll give you the full size. So a little different because you're going like this instead of like this. But
Yeah.
but they do have that as an
Springs
option.
here.
So and again, that's also built very, very solid.
It's a very tough
The
little
build
unit.
quality on these products is amazing.
And it has its own built-in battery with the
Also
USB
charges
charger
via
on the
USB.
top.
Yep.
Yeah.
That one's not going to last as long because the battery is obviously smaller than the big one. But one nice thing though is it has a little readout, which it's a 3-digit number. It tells you the focus position. So if you wanted to repeat a move that way, you could just look at the number and repeat your move there.
Yeah.
So,
Then you won't have to mark things up too much.
yep.
Has a lanyard.
There's a lanyard,
This was
yeah.
very nice.
Yeah.
When I'm walking
the
around
bottom.
trying to do other things in between takes, I feel like, oh man, I don't want to set this down anywore.
You just hang it from
Like
there.
I'm just hanging from my neck. Or what's nice, there's a 1/4-20 on the side, and what I've done is I've hooked if I can unhook it from that, I've hooked an Israeli arm or an articulating arm with the 1/4-20 to the side, and used this little C-clamp to hook to my setup. So I'll have a monitor with a battery. If I want to be like quick and move it around, I'll have my little stand and hook this on. Have everything kind of right there, cup holder and all that stuff, and then I don't have to.
Leather seats too.
Yeah, leather seats and all that. And when I'm done pulling focus, I can just let go and move the stand if I need to, and just go back to my little station. You focus pullers may have seen those. If not, that's a good option.
Yeah.
So.
So
And there's just one on that right side.
anyway, this video is already kind of long, but generally speaking, I think we do like the product. For a wireless follow focus, it's
I think in the
pretty
price
good,
range
yeah.
and in,
especially in the price range. Yeah, it's one of the lower price models that's out there.
Yeah.
Still not super cheap, but it's much more affordable than some of the others.
yeah, affordable to buy. Even in the rental houses, you get the high end, low end. This is a good mid range. I think that's actually performs very well. I stress the ability to have reliability. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Reliability is huge. If I can just plug it in, turn it on, turn this on, and calibrate the lens and be set, then I can be ready and not like everybody looking at me like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure this out.
And in that way, this has not disappointed. This thing has been
Yeah.
absolutely rock solid. So we've been very happy with the performance on it. So,
With this one, I have not had any issues with trying to like I've had wireless issues before. This one,
yeah.
has just been reliable. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah, the radio signal reliability on this thing is shockingly good.
Yeah, I ran down the block and even just tonight, and it just kept on going.
Yeah.
So.
In terms of complaints, I have one little minor complaint. When you go from one extreme to the other, you can hear the motor.
Oh, right. There was one instance on this movie where we were close on some keys, and they were coming in the door, and I was in the other room, and they were kind of chuckling at the end, and I'm like, wasn't that good? Didn't that work? Well, it's just there was a lot of noise with the motor.
Yeah.
And not a ton. They said it wasn't extremely bad, but going from one extreme to another, you can hear it a bit.
And it does vary with lens to lens. This happens to be the noisiest lens I own.
All right.
So yeah, if you're hearing that on camera, that's extremely loud compared to how it normally is. But yes, if you do an extreme move, the motor is.
But in between,
audible.
Let's see, in between 6 feet and 10 feet.
As long as you're making sane moves, it's quiet enough that you can use it on a film set and it's fine. So yeah.
Yeah. There is a menu on the back on how to use this whole thing, which is nice and also kind of confusing a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the directions on there are very hard to understand. So, speaking with the general manager of the company, they're going to try and improve the manual at least. So it's a little bit easier to understand how to do things. But
it's kind of handy, but it's again,
it does so many different things with so few buttons that it's inherently a little bit complicated. So.
And I typically just do two things: I turn the dial and I calibrate the lens. Yeah. But I am excited to be able to use that record button one day.
The one feature that I had the most difficulty figuring out is controlling the amount of damping. So it has a feature on it where even if you make a really quick move, it still moves the lens slowly with a smooth start and tries to do a smooth stop. That's difficult to turn that feature on and off. It's a combination of buttons you have to press, and the instructions on the back are just not clear. And
that's one thing that I wasn't super thrilled is the damping.
Yeah, we just turned it off. We need to just turn it off.
I mean, I can imagine going between those would be handy, but if you're using this,
you don't want any
to follow anyone. Yeah, I mean, if someone all of a sudden moves close to you fast, you want to move close fast. You don't want to do it and have it go feather in. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what circumstance you would really want that, but
maybe it's for new people who have
just to make it look a little less
not gotten quite the right feel for it yet.
Yeah, you don't want it to be.
So we actually found that feature to be a little bit annoying, so we turned it off. But it is there for people who need it. So
you want to hide the fact that you're pulling focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but in terms of issues, that was my only real complaint is the noise of the motor. And once we were able to figure out how to reset the damping.
Yeah. And the manual.
Yeah.
Or just the verbiage on the back.
Yeah.
It is handy to be right there.
The instructions could be a little more clear, but it does work. I mean, you have to decipher their combinations of button presses in order to program the thing. So
it could be me. I mean, I don't get things that well. But.
Well, yeah, I spent close to an hour trying to figure that out. Anyways, I actually do recommend the product. I think it's actually pretty good, especially considering the other products that are out there. So if you want to get something nicer, the price is going to jump up a lot.
Yes. This,
You get to the high-end products, it's 5 times. They can be 5 times more expensive than this one.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Yeah. There are some that are cheaper, but I'd avoid them. So.
Honestly, most cases, this just works. If you're doing small to large production, I would recommend it.
Yep.
And I've worked on small and large productions.
Yep. So, yeah, overall, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
I like it. It's good.
2 by me as well.
Yep. So, thanks guys for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We do content related to video production about once a week. We release new videos about once a week. If you have any questions or comments, please consider leaving those down in the comment section down below. I try and answer those as quickly as possible. Also go ahead and subscribe to Paul's channel. Paul does a lot of cool behind the scenes on a lot of the stuff that he shoots. And
I like to vlog.
He does a lot of other fun stuff. So he just did a cool video on his Halloween costume, how he made his very cool Halloween costume.
It's pretty random, but try to make it a little entertaining.
Yeah. So Paul's a fun guy. He's a great friend too. So, but yeah, go subscribe to his channel. It's Paul D. Green. Is it underscores in that or no?
No, just Paul D. Green.
Yeah, just Paul D. Green on YouTube. So yeah. Anyways, thanks guys for watching, and have a fantastic day.